Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to this fine Monday. Thank you for joining us today. I want to say it's my sister Maggie's birthday today, Maggie Savannah. So happy birthday. She's not watching. Nope, it's today, the 27th. She's actually, I think, turning 27 on the 27th.
There we go.
So happy birthday. I know you're not watching, but maybe you'll watch later. She's also looking to get in real estate. Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah, me
we
too.
could use you at the Tampa office.
Yeah, she and Miller. Let's do this. All right. Well, how about them Gators?
Awesome.
I know you didn't watch the game, but it was a great game. We killed them in that the second half. So that was a lot of fun. They're playing Kentucky in Kentucky. So I know all the Gators are excited. So go Gators to you Gator fans out there. And thanks for joining us for Rabell Realty Group podcast. Again with Kristen Rabell and
Rebecca Johnson.
All righty. I'm excited for this podcast today. I know we don't have anybody on here, but we've got some fun topics and some interesting topics to talk about. Some might get somebody fired up. So if I can get her to actually talk about what she really feels about the topic, it's going to be really good. So you guys have to help me out.
I know it'll work if they all start tagging city commissioners.
That'll be at the end. So wait for it. Just wait for it. It might be exciting to see her get all red in the face and blow a gasket. No, she doesn't. But really talk about how she feels about it. And it's going to be about that rental ordinance. So stay on if you want to talk about that. Would love your comments about it. I think we have a phone number you can call. Elio, do you want to put that up there if you have any questions?
I will.
He's going to put that up there. But so that we can keep it somber and normal and, our typical, let's get into that Monday market moment. We'll check that out on a new video.
North Central Florida. Let's talk about what's happening in the real estate market. And we'll start with Gainesville. So Gainesville, what month are we in? September.
September 27th.
So it's the end of September. And there are currently 335 active properties, single-family homes or properties, that have been on the market since the start of September. You've got 447 pending and 376 closed. So pretty steady. Still a good number of pending. More
really
pending
funny.
than active left over. So.
Yeah, not to, obviously I always love to add a little thing, but I've had 3 people tell me this week alone, in my area, it's a really hot market. I think it's a really hot market all around, especially in Florida. So many people moving here. And Gainesville's still really hot, even compared to Tampa. So, which is a much bigger city. But keep it going. I just think that's funny that people say it's really hot where we are. It's really hot in all these areas.
Everywhere is hot. Mm-hmm. It's what it is. And we're going to jet over to St. Augustine
Our favorite
and
little
look at that. And it's
East Coast beach.
Yep, you've got 90 active currently with
that
25
number never
pending.
changes, I swear.
I know. I don't ever know if real estate happens over there or if it's just so consistent. And then you've got 34 closed. Let's see. Sorry, I'm having headphone technological difficulties.
Yeah, technical difficulties.
I was trying to see if I could get those to come on. All right. And then down to Ocala and Marion, you've got 392 active since the start of September.
Dang, look at those
778 pending.
Wow.
That area is growing, and I've told many
that
owners that we work with
week.
that's the place to watch. We'll get into that topic later in the show, like Kristen promised, but I really believe that Marion might be the place to watch in Florida, in our area.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and then 550 closed so far for the month of September. Still very steady, looks very strong. Down to Tampa, Hillsborough, you've got 507 active. That's a little lower than I was expecting personally, but 965 pending and 831 sold. So they're still pretty high.
Yeah, they're still pretty hot too.
And I wish I could remember what we talked about last week for numbers, because I feel like they've all jumped up except for St. Augustine.
Yeah, right. They've jumped up exponentially. So in 1 week, because we show you the weekly numbers and how they grow, I do feel like there was a big change in this. So, but again, we're going to look back at the end of the month. So next Monday, which will be like the 3rd of October, I believe, we will be looking at the numbers comparatively And maybe we can pull up like all 4 weeks because we don't usually do that. That'd be kind of interesting.
Sorry, I couldn't hear anything.
I know you're having sound problems. So
there we go. I got it.
you know, but maybe we can have all 4 weeks, you know, show like this is this week and see the, you know, how they've grown, whether it's or slowed down. And we could see really of these 4 markets or 3, if we don't show St. Augustine, what were the hottest as
It's not that we don't love you, St. Augustine. It's just you're too stable for us.
It's hot there. I know that we're looking for properties there, and it's
they just don't even hit.
They don't even hit the market. That's the problem. And the active, I mean, this is a completely different MLS. Florida MLS, please come together. But this is a completely different MLS, and they show their numbers differently. So it's a little harder to get the same type of numbers as we can with the other 3, which are all going to be in the same MLS pretty soon. So that'll be exciting. Gainesville, you're almost on your way. So
now it's time to get St. Augustine to do what we want.
I know, that would be amazing. Although I do like their MLS. It's just they don't show active per month. They show active for the whole year. But it's very weird that it's still always 90.
I'm going to be super controversial all day, every day, apparently. I think we just need a statewide MLS.
Yeah, that's what I said, statewide MLS.
I said it. I said what I said. I don't even apologize.
Because of an article we're going to get into, I was reading, and in some states they're actually testing it out. And I want to say North Carolina is one of them. But they are testing out the statewide, and it seems to be that most realtors really like it. And we'll kind of get into that a little later when we talk second half, or actually after this probably. But we'll not the rental ordinance, but the other one. Two controversial topics probably. Oh yeah. But yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit more and how statewide it's taken a long time to get there and how it could benefit all realtors, which it benefits buyers and sellers as well. I do believe. All right. So what's happening? What's going to happen with the housing market in 2022? Well, yes, we don't
is this
have
the article that we wrote?
Yes,
okay.
not that we wrote. Connor Sin,
Yes.
It says on there, wrote it, but we did talk about it and read it and share it with our realtors, which we love to do. We love our realtors to, you know, be knowledgeable at the market and about what the forecasts are. You know, Connor Sin writes about the market. He writes about, you know, he's constantly studying, looking at numbers, seeing where things are going. So he's well versed in this. And, you know, what can you tell us, Rebecca?
If this is the article that I think it is, it's that the market is going to be boring, and
Thank
we're all so excited.
Yes. Real estate agents are like, yes. Now, boring, it means stable. Which we all need. Yeah, magic 8 ball.
We will bring that magic 8 ball
We
back.
are hoping that it does bring stability. And really, it was about what we've talked about this whole entire year on this podcast, which was the fact that there was not a lot in the past 10 to 15 years, not a lot of builders were building. And all of these families were coming in, bringing it, you know, people were growing up, coming into this buying, you know, their ability to buy homes and, you know, change from homes, but no new construction was building. And then all of a sudden we're able to, but then manufacturing went down. COVID hit. You know, actually it was COVID hit, manufacturing went down. And so we couldn't keep up with the demand because no manufacturing, no supplies. Also the workforce kind of went away. Yes, because of COVID. That's one of the main reasons, but there's other reasons that are probably politically induced. And the workforce just has not been there. Yes, we're probably going to make a lot of people mad, but whatever. We don't mean to make you mad.
The market is boring, but we will always be spicy.
Right, exactly. So, but what they're saying is that we're finally catching up to all of this, and hopefully so, because it has been an absolute nightmare in the real estate industry when you're trying to sell new construction or be the buyer's agent on new construction, which of course, if you know as buyers and you've been in new construction, you've probably hit a lot of hurdles. You know, back in the day, our builders could build in 4 months, and then all of a sudden it became 6 months, and then longer. We're still seeing in the neighborhood that we work in, we're still seeing delays, and it's usually, I mean, as so much as cabinet doors. They want one style, and they ordered one style 6 to 8 months ago, and that style is not available now when they go to order. And a lot of buyers ask, why didn't you order it in the very beginning? Well, we can't order everything in the very beginning because we have to have exact dimensions and drawings. And that's just how some builders work. Not every house is built exactly the same because of, you know, 10% differences in each home and each plan.
That's not true. Prefab homes and mobile homes are all built the same because they're built in controlled environments. So if that's the style of home that you're looking for,
it'll be the 100%
same, no matter what. Can get exactly the same house reproduced. But when you're building outside in the elements and you have different factors that, move wood, the ground shifts, not in a scary way, but things happen. It's not an exact science every day.
Yes.
And you have to remember, when you have a new construction home, you're dependent on 80 to 100 people.
Right. And so all of these things were happening, which made it not boring at all and absolutely wild and tiring. I mean, my 2020 and to the beginning of 2021 was probably one of the hardest time periods of my real estate career because of all of this, working in new construction on a site that we were seeing delays and problems literally daily. And it wasn't because the builder was horrible. It was because there are so many problems that we were tackling and dealing with every single day. So I look forward to the boring 2022.
I am share this on our page so that people can find it. We need to share this on this story.
Yes. Right. So we shared it with our realtors, but we're sharing it with you here. But if you do want to read it, you'll find it on our website, on our Facebook page. We'll post it so that you can read this forecast by Connor Sin about why it's going to be more boring. And that's because we are going to see ourselves in a more stable market. Now, I did also say that it does not mean we're going to suddenly have stable prices. Our prices are still rising. There's still a lack of resales. Builders are still trying to catch up. We're just not going to see a frenzy that we saw, and we're not going to see the same, or at least we're not expecting the same manufacturing issues for new construction. So, and this, this article is not written about Gainesville only. This article is a national article, but it does hit real estate is local, but we're all experiencing a lot of the same things. And so we definitely experienced it in Gainesville, same with Tampa, St. Augustine, Ocala, all experiencing this. So I do think most agents around the nation, around the world, are asking and praying for a boring 2022, a stable one.
A less exciting.
Yes. A less disastrous, I would say. But I was on site. You weren't. You kind of were, but not so much. So let's get into our first huge topic. I say huge. Well, we're actually at the break. Do you want to talk about this after the break or at the break?
Depends how long you're going to talk. Are we talk quickly?
Well, let's talk quickly about it. Yeah, we'll do a couple minutes on this. So, start again.
This is the Zillow article. So Zillow's really hot on TikTok.
It's not really a Zillow article.
Well, they're talking about Zillow. So TikTok, I don't know if anybody, ever since the Super Bowl, right? I think it was the Super Bowl ads where they talk about ugly houses, or I think that was the guy from, is it pronounced Schitt's Creek?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
He, Dan Levy, I think. Sorry, I'm great with names. I believe he did some Super Bowl ad. And so this has become a huge thing on TikTok, like talking about houses and such. And this one, if I recall, they're talking about how it's affecting appraisals. Or am I wrong?
No, this is the guy, the realtor, who basically put up this video. I can't remember what his name is right now, but accusing Zillow, Redfin, Open Door, any of those iBuyer programs from huge entities like Zillow, and not so much the one offer, who does maybe 30 or 40 flips a year, but billionaire companies coming in. And what they're doing is that because they have so much information, especially Zillow has come in and has a ton of information about where people are buying. And I mean, that's the controversial part of it that I would talk about that we don't have time to get into. But he's stating that they're going in and they followed the data. So the data says, say in Gainesville, 32608 is the best location to buy in because that's where the most people are looking and buying and asking for information. And so and then our average price range that we've shown you in Gainesville is right now 320 to 340. So that's like the hot part, the hot number, right? Between 3 and 350 is a really hot number. So they're buying houses in a certain zip code at value, and they're buying it. So say 300,000 value. They're buying 30 of them, one a day, at 300,000. And then on day 31, they're buying one for 340. So they're basically setting the pricing. And why are they buying at 300? Because when they buy it at 340, they can go flip those 30 and sell them. They could put a little bit of upgrade into them and sell them for 360, because they were cash buyers at 300 and then cash buyer at 340, which pushed up. So they don't have to worry about appraisals. So that pushes up the price. And this is all, again, what he's saying. I'm not saying this is what's happening. This is what he's saying looks like what's happening, because they have information. They have all of the data. And then we realtors, this is, shown, actually, this was an article that anyone could read, but it's come up in a ton of realtor pages. So a ton
People
of realtors
are really upset.
are talking about it and how upsetting it is, because, again, and they're going in. And so actually I was talking to my sister today about this, because, again, she's trying to get into real estate. And she said, she's down in Tampa, and she said one of her friends went to go sell to the iBuyer program through Zillow. She had a property that she wanted to sell, and Zillow offered her a price. But their cost was over 6%, but it was a quick cash bought purchase. So it's all about making it easy for the seller. Now, she decided to end up giving it to the realtor, because the realtor actually had a buyer for it, because there's tons of buyers out there. And if, as a realtor, we have, between 10 and 50 buyers, depending on how often we are working and, how much we have on the back end for us. But she had the buyer. So she ended up giving it to the realtor to see if the buyer could do it or list it. And her cost was just, say, 6%. Well, that was less, about $7,000 less than the Zillow cost to purchase it. So you're not really saving money. And then what he's stating, and what a lot of realtors are saying, is that they're flipping that. Zillow then 30 days later either puts some money into it and then now sells it for 360 or sells it for 340. They've made 40,000 off of it. They've also gotten more than 6% off of that seller, and now they can turn around and flip it and make that money. So it is hurting the realtor. It's also kind of hurting the seller. It's pushing
definitely
up.
hurting the buyer.
It's definitely hurting these buyers. So now he's just saying, are they taking part in this push with our market going higher? Now, the article that we read is saying it's not just that. They're only buying 1% of the properties. Now, there's about 5 cities. Atlanta, Georgia was one of them. None of them were in Florida, where it's about 5% of the market are iBuyers. But if they have more access to this and they continue doing this, they could be the buyers of the future. And it does put our industry in absolute panic. But really right now, we still believe that it's everything else that we've talked about is the reason and cause for the real estate market going up. The lack of properties, the buyers coming in, and lack of properties, the lack of, new construction, all of that, the frenzy after pandemics, which also happened, and, the pandemic, the Spanish flu, or the Spanish pandemic that they called from World War II, this also happened in the 1950s. So those are some things that we're really talking about in the real estate world today.
So my favorite part is Redfin's response to this. Redfin is basically
one of them,
iBuyer, right? Intentionally overpaying for homes would be a terrible business model. Right. And I'm like, but then it's followed up. That's a quote from the article. But then this was very interesting, and I believe it, but I don't at the same time. It says, if you could rig the residential housing market that easily, the realtors would have done it a long time ago. And this is a professor at Pennsylvania's Wharton
professor
School.
of real estate,
yeah.
right?
And he makes a good point, but doesn't, because realtors are more heavily regulated, I think, than a lot of these websites. And these websites have way more information, because consumers are going directly to them and plugging in all the information, as to where we, the realtors, are gathering the information, plugging it into an MLS, but it's one person getting information. This is a website that's gathering information from billions of people. So anyways, very interesting. We'll continue to talk about that and keep an eye on things. Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is that a lot of realtors that I've read from other areas, not just here, feel very frustrated with Zillow, with NAR, the National Association of Realtors, who are supposed to be protecting our information, but literally let Zillow and Redfin and all of these iBuyers do this over the course of the last 10 to 15 years. So that is a huge conversation that's happening within the real estate industry, and it will continue to happen. So, keep in touch, and we'll keep on talking about this as it continues. But let's take our break. We did go over a little bit, so come back. We've got more fun topics and a little bit of controversial if we can get to it.
Looking for your next shopping trip to Gainesville? We have a few places to recommend. Starting with Butler Plaza. This shopping center has been a hub for shopping in North Central Florida for over 35 years. You can find everything you need for your busy life, all conveniently located in one place. Next, we have Celebration Point. From relaxing outside in the beautiful promenade to shopping for the perfect outfit, the number of things to do at Celebration Point is nearly unlimited. If you find yourself on the west side of town, Tioga Town Center is a must visit. With premier shopping and dining, there's lots to experience. Tioga Town Center has regular events such as Movies on the Square and summer concert series that invites families and guests of all ages to enjoy local outdoor entertainment at the beautiful covered amphitheater. Lastly, Hale Village Center has a vibrant shopping environment where you can experience great food, local shopping, and one of the best farmers markets in town. Hale Village hosts two very popular festivals every year, Oktoberfest and Light the Village. Please visit buysellrebell.com to learn more about local shopping centers in Gainesville. Hello, welcome back.
All right, we're back. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll go quickly into this kind of fun topic. You know, we always like to talk about decor and design. So Elle put out this article about, well, that was not the first picture we were going to talk about, but it's fine, about the 53 decor designs that they hope never come back. So there were 53. We're not going to go all through 53, but we're going to go through a couple of them. So this is actually the picture that they had for sponge.
I was trying to figure out if it was granite or what it was.
Right. So yeah, sponge, not even wallpaper, but sponge paint. And that was huge in the 80s and 90s. And it is not back. But I got to tell you, I met with a seller not too long ago who had done all of these things to her house and thought her house is worth like $200 or $300 more than it really is. And her bathroom and a couple of areas actually right above, like over the top of her stove, was all sponge paint. And all I could think of, you don't ever want to cut down someone's house, but all I could think of was, why did you go backwards instead of forwards with your design? But a lot of these items that came up could be done tastefully. I just don't know how sponge paint is done tastefully because I've never seen it. Have you?
I have once,
Okay.
but it was back in the early 2000s and it was very nice.
Yeah, your mom sponged your living room wall in the 90s.
believe
Exactly,
it.
totally 90s. And
Send it
it
back.
looked cool, but stay in the 90s, okay?
So
Right?
the next one was my number one pick on the list.
Mine too, which was supposed to be first, but we mixed it up. Tuscan style, this Mediterranean style. Is that what you're talking about? You saw that one?
Yes.
Yes. I hate that style. And I would say it was more like early 2000s.
Yes.
Because we got into real estate in 06
Everybody
and this
had
thing was
Tuscan kitchen.
huge. And I'm sorry, I love you, Tommy Waters, but you were the one who really brought it here. Yes, I totally named him. He is one of my favorite builders, and he knows that because I sent everyone to him. But he was really well known when we got into real estate for this sort of Mediterranean style. He did it tastefully, but it was huge. And I really feel like it dates the house, and I don't see it doing very well anymore.
I'll be honest, I've never liked it. Yes, there are people who do it better than others.
Yeah.
But for me personally,
Yeah,
No,
it was
thank you.
never my style, right?
thank you.
So I don't think that's going to stick around.
Yes.
Oh, see that? Was that the one you're talking about?
Nope. I forgot
Sorry,
about it.
Karen and Brenda.
But no, I'm sure it was lovely.
it looked very lovely in the 90s. All right, the third one that was on there, vertical blinds. Yeah, stay wherever you came from. I don't know if that was like 70s or 80s, but vertical blinds are horrible. If you have these slider doors or anything like that, just use curtains, really pretty white curtains.
I agree.
That's all I can say. The next one. So valances that match the curtains. Well, I just think, honestly, valances in general, I don't know of any that look really nice. I'm sure.
I'm sending those back to the 70s.
Yeah. Now, these definitely were in the 70s. But, I mean, one of our sellers in Englewood had them. Remember the one that wanted to leave them there? And they were not 70s looking, but I just don't understand the need or desire for valances. So sorry,
They're
guys.
fancy. They're very southern.
They're very southern, yes.
man.
Maybe in certain houses. Shag carpet was not on there, but yes, that is something
That's
that should
kind of come back, but not the long
not
shag.
the like the green shag, right, or the red shag in the bathrooms.
They call it like freeze.
But it's not as shaggy as it was in the 70s. But shag carpet is back, and I don't have a problem with that. But I get it. That's okay.
This is my number
That's
2
your
pick.
opinion. All right, which one?
Popcorn
ceiling. Yeah, I don't think that'll ever come back. Everybody's tried to shave that down. Have you ever tried to remove popcorn ceiling?
Yes, I have.
It's not fun.
It's awful.
Yeah. So I don't think that will ever come back, but that is awful. And it's definitely 60s, 70s. So
sending it back.
The next one, tile countertops.
I don't have a problem with this, I'll be honest.
Hate them. Well, we have them in our kitchen, which we have not replaced yet because, it just takes time. And
I thought about you when I read this article, actually.
Yes, this one. Oh my gosh.
Stencil border. So wallpaper borders were on there, but stencil border wasn't. But
it wasn't, but I agree. Yeah. So no, why do you not hate it? See, the grout gets in the way.
I think it could be nice. It just depends on what you're doing and what the vibe of the house is.
All right. Well, I didn't like it, so I put it on there.
I like it. That's fine.
And the number one, I love it. What they call it, the sunken living rooms from the 70s. They call it the conversation living rooms.
Oh, that's what they call it.
I never thought of it like that because I've never seen it like this, but I actually kind of like it if you call it that. Let's get down in our conversation pit.
No, it looks like an ankle twisting one
White
Claw
your grandma or your 2-year-old is going to fall in there.
Explaining an accidental trip and
yes,
bang the
I
head.
have no idea where this came from.
Could you imagine being a kid and just...
No. Yeah, see, I agree, Karen. Too much grout. Okay.
I got you.
So those are like 7 of the top that stayed up there. Now they had some like Terrazzo flooring, which you and I both love, but they had the Terrazzo flooring on the wall, like backsplash. That's really weird. I've never seen that before. I would say no to that. But Terrazzo flooring has a certain beauty to it. You just have to take care of it, and it really has to go with the house. You're not putting it in like your Tuscan villa house, right? Hopefully you don't have a Tuscan villa house, but you are, the millennial look. Okay, so too much flour came up, right? Which I totally agree with. But it is kind of a grand millennial style that we talked about last week and a couple weeks before that. Yeah, the grand millennial. This is grandma millennial. It's where it came from. So I think other than like the popcorn ceiling or the sunken living room or a couple of those, this is back. It's just back without this look. It's back with that simplified modern style. Right. So again, maybe the valances in a really lovely, huge house that's very luxury. Maybe valances look beautiful and maybe matching valances. But again, this was one that I was like, that's kind of funny because literally last week we talked about Grand Millennial being back in, and this is just the older version of that. So if you can update things, they can still work. And the next one,
I'm offended.
I thought about this one, Wicker Furniture, which again, last week we talked about like the Wicker style.
Yeah.
That is back in, and it's huge. It's just, again, making it look modern and just little pieces. I mean, a wicker basket, a wicker frame on the wall, something, bringing in this wicker look, but maybe not having every single piece of furniture wicker. Wicker outside looks nice. Just wicker in your like living room, not so nice.
Thank God we don't have to take a shot every time we say wicker.
Another one that came up that I think can be done in a great way.
That's right.
Boho, see? Yeah, it's really popular right now. So this is an awful picture. It's colored cabinets, which I think is a weird way to say it. So painted cabinets. But that's huge right now. We've talked about that with the navy cabinets, with Gruen cabinets. It's huge. So as long as you do it correctly, I think it's back in.
Not everybody's going to like everything, and opinions are like what everybody knows they're like.
Everybody has one. What was not on there that I was shocked about, I don't know if you can see it because I could not find what we actually see as realtors when we go in houses with these, but the sunken tub. And this, it's literally in the ground. And again, it's like a trip hazard. Now, if you think of sunken tubs like Harry Potter, when he has to get in the tub to listen to the egg, you're like that was really awesome. Right, exactly. So all the pictures I found with this were really beautiful updates of them, of the sunken tub. This was like the most awful one that kind of is the reminiscent of what we see. But it's so funny when you're showing houses and you go into like a 1960s, 70s house and you walk in and there's a tub in the floor plus the shower and you're like, how is we going to get in there without busting our butts? Because it's like 2-3 feet down. You got to take a big step down. It's going to be wet, slippery. Grandma's not getting in there.
Better have your life alert on.
You're not throwing your toddler in there to bathe, because then you're literally on the floor bathing them. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. And they're usually about this big.
The 70s were weird.
They were
what
weird.
Were you all doing?
They liked conversational pieces everywhere, including the tub.
Here's my conversational tub. Here's my conversational.
But it's only big enough for one person.
Yeah,
You're really getting on that person there. So yes, yeah, the 1970s was a little messed up for
housing.
For housing, I would say, because
y'all put paneling.
Most of it, yes, paneling was on there. Most of it was from the 70s. So. All right, the next talk. We're not going to be able to do much of this. I really want to have somebody from the city or somewhere come on and talk about this. Yes, the city. That would be amazing.
That would be dangerous.
So the residential, it's actually more of the, it's about permits, but it's the rental ordinance. So
it's your landlord permit. If you own a piece of property in the city of Gainesville and you're renting it out to a tenant, and it's not necessarily a short-term rental, you have to have a landlord license to do so. And so they have updated their way that they do permits, and it includes a 5-page inspection, which is very interesting. We're finishing up our inspections right now for them, and they're doing it all for the tenant to have lower utility bills and a nicer place to live. And I'm saying that with a smile because in the same vein, they have raised the utility rates exponentially.
City of Gainesville has raised these utility bills.
And I'm going to use an example.
Yes,
I had a tenant write me.
You should use this example.
Yep. I had a tenant write me that was upset and said something must be wrong with the AC unit because they are using the same amount of energy that they actually will show you that on your bills. They're using the same amount of energy, yet their bill is almost 50% higher than it was last summer. So there's definitely something wrong with the utility rates or with the HVAC. There is something wrong with the utility rates. So I was like, no problem. I could send somebody back out there, but we did send somebody. The AC is functioning properly. And what you're probably experiencing is lack of voter turnout in the city of Gainesville. And they continue to elect the same people over and over and over and have no idea why their rates are so high or why the taxes are so high, which only gets I don't know if people understand how the economy works, but the landlord is right here. And most of our landlords are not millionaires, billionaires. They own 1 or 2 properties. They're for investment for the long term. They're not turning in hundreds of thousands of dollars off of you. I saw one person say, hey, I paid $27,000 in rent. I'm not, giving somebody their income for their life. Well, you have to remember that landlord is also paying for their mortgage. They're also paying for their property taxes, their insurance, repairs, maintenance, management fees, anything else that comes up. They're taking 100% of the risk, right? So most people in Gainesville with investment properties are making 4 to 10% per year, depending on a lot of variables. But I would say more often than not, more are making 4 to 6% if you really want to get closer to the number. So your landlord might be collecting $27,000 from you a year for rent, but that doesn't mean they're taking $27,000 home. They're taking about 6% of that to be safe. So you have to think of it that way. Now the city is demanding that these landlords go through this tedious inspection process, much of which is opinions. One of the questions they asked me was, is the kitchen and bathroom sanitary? With no definition of what they consider sanitary. Are we talking hospital level sanitary, livable sanitary? Everybody's idea of cleanliness is different. I've learned this through 39 years of life. What I consider clean, somebody else might not, and vice versa. And some people have extreme OCD, like myself, and are very, very clean and tidy. So it kind of just depends. So the city seems to think this will save tenants and make it more affordable for them, but in the end, it will not.
Yes, we feel like this is going to be very costly, not just for landlords, but for tenants as well, because in order to handle the costs that landlords will have, they will have to raise the rents. And so it's just
there's a theory that it's going to basically run out all of the small landlords, all your mom and pops who own a couple of rental properties.
And the big ones who do actually have lots of money will come in and they will make even more money.
Right. And I can assure you that those people will run it like a business.
Yes. and not
And it
care
will be
about
a
the
business.
tenants.
Right. You will have mountains and mountains of apartment complexes and communities. And it will be a very interesting time for the residents of Gainesville. And guess what? If you're in the county, you're not immune because the county intends to push the same thing on its landlords.
Starting in March.
Starting in March. Yep.
So the city starts October 1st. And the county is in talks to start in March.
Yep,
So
they're working on it now. So if you have a problem with it, you should definitely start reaching out to your county and city commissioners right now. And I would be happy to get you the phone numbers if you message me and tell you who you need to call, because it will 100% affect you. And in the whole spirit of them wanting to do it to help you save on your utilities and have a more energy efficient home, it doesn't really matter if I make that thing airtight with brand new everything. Your bills are still going up. And if you watch the city, I would suggest you watch, actually, I'm trying to think of the date that it was, but it was about a week and a half ago. If you go and watch, because somebody goes, why don't we just tell the city commission how we feel?
they don't let
Go
us.
watch a meeting. Well, they do. It's called public comment. And you'll see person after person standing there going, I know you've already made your decision and you're not going to listen to what we have to say, but you're hurting the citizens of Gainesville. They will say it over and over and over and over. The last city commission meeting I watched went till about 1 o'clock in the morning. They start at 5. Actually, some of them start earlier in the day. They take breaks for dinner and such, but people were begging them to please not do it. They did it anyway, so there's a 7% increase coming your way if you're on GRU. You can't do a thing about it except for get out and vote. And guess what? I think there's an election coming up in November. So if you don't vote in it, I do not want to hear anything about your utility bills or your property taxes.
Please vote.
Because they also, in that same meeting, increased assessments, which go on your property tax bill. So if you guys aren't going to take control of the city of Gainesville, you get what you get, and you can't throw a fit.
I told you she's passionate about this, which she should be. We all should be very passionate about
It's
this.
scary.
Because if you are a homeowner or even a renter in Gainesville, you are extremely affected by this, and you'll be affected by
Not even
this
in Gainesville,
the
now the county.
also. Exactly. So please watch us. We're going to continue with this conversation. It's going to affect all of us as realtors, as owners, as investors,
And for my owners,
landlords.
and I've already been talking to y'all, it's time to buy in Marion County. They do not have any intention of doing any of this. And I can tell you the renters are long-term renters. They don't complain in the same way. And the property
They
taxes.
also don't have GRU.
Yep, property taxes are cheaper. It's a little further of a drive. Oh Lord.
Yeah, Mama, she's got it.
Got it. So anyways, yes, I've been talking with our owners about investing in other areas because Alachua County, sorry, it is what it is.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca.
Any of the county
That was
commissioners or city commissioners that want to have a candid discussion,
We
I
would
be happy
love to have you on here. Come on here.
Oh Lord, not on here. I'll
Yes,
talk
on
to you off the phone.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for sticking with us, talking about real real estate today. So let's go through our normals. We love these.
If
Hey.
you have a property that you would like us to manage and it's in the city of Gainesville, I'll consider it. I'm just joking. Of course, we'll take it on. It's just know that it's going to come with its own set of headaches, but we're here to handle those for you. At K&R Property Management, we will be your leasing agent, accountant, repairman, inspector, and landlord. That goes for the city of Gainesville and Alachua County. But
And
if you're
Marion
outside
County,
of the area, yes, that's right. We do service Marion County now.
Yes,
Call
we
us
do.
at 352-213-6410.
She knows that number. All right. If
Finally.
you're looking to get into real estate or wanting to change your real estate career, join our team. You can email us at join@buysellrebell.com. We'll answer any and all of your questions. People love getting into real estate. People are getting real estate every day. There is a lot of money to be made. There's an incredible lifestyle to live. So email us.
Can't get enough of Kristen and Rebecca? You can follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and YouTube.
Yay. Like and subscribe our YouTube page. You can even watch us there live or after. Thank you. Also, you probably know by now, but if you don't know, we have a blog and we talk about a lot of this information, other local information, real estate information on it. So buysellrebell.com/blog.
And if you're thinking about having a podcast, you should first come on our podcast, experience the fabulous production of the Fiesta Media, and then sit down and talk with them about your own podcast. You can reach them at 352-327-5089.
Thank you, Fiesta Media. We love you. Thank you, everyone, for watching with us today. Hope to see you next Monday. We love having you on here, and we love seeing you and talking about real estate with you.
Hopefully I'm here next Monday and the city doesn't find me. Or GRU.
Right. Well, GRU's already finding you. So.
Bye,
All right. Thank you. Bye.